When at the beach, you fully expect to see a few things: sand, other beachgoers, the odd animal here and there. But I'm certain that you wouldn't be expecting to see any of these, especially number 1, so make sure you watch till the end as we bring you 10 of the strangest things washed up on beaches. Number 10. A Harley-Davidson motorcycle. Sad to say, there is a lot of trash floating around in the world's oceans. In fact, there is actually an artificial island made up entirely of trash floating around out there. Seriously, look it up, it's actually pretty interesting. Anyway, sometimes these pieces of trash make their way onto the beaches everywhere. This is but one example of it, but if found by the right person, this piece of trash could actually be a treasure. I'm talking about an entire Harley-Davidson motorcycle washed on the shores of British Columbia back in 2012. It was inside a styrofoam-lined container, hence the reason why it floated. Amazingly enough, it was registered in Japan, leading people to conclude that it was one of the many things that was carried away by the tsunami that ravaged Japan in 2011. The bike was understandably worse for wear, being out in the open ocean for months. Also, salt water doesn't really agree with metal. In any case, this piece of junk could be of some value to someone. And for people who have a thing for anything from Japan, authorities are expecting a lot more tsunami debris to wash up on Canadian shores for years to come. Number 9. A giant eyeball. Imagine having a peaceful walk at the beach and then you find one of these things literally staring back at you. Yep, of all the things that the sea could potentially cough up, it decided to get you with a big blue eyeball. This giant softball-sized peeper was washed up on the shores of Pompano Beach, Florida sometime in 2012. It was immediately retrieved, thankfully by the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, who subsequently sent it off for study to identify the mystery creature to which it belongs. It was originally thought to belong to either a giant squid or a colossal squid. However, that was quickly debunked due to the bones surrounding the eyeball, which doesn't occur in squids. In the end, it was identified to be the eye of a swordfish, smaller than a colossal squid, but in no way a minnow. What most likely happened is that a fisherman caught a swordfish and cut its eye out while at sea. This allows the disembodied eyeball to find its way to shore, thus terrorizing us in our nightmares. Number 8. Driftwood. Driftwood is a very common sight on beaches worldwide. But why, you might yell at me, does driftwood make it to this list? Well, if the driftwood just so happens to be the size of a house, then it definitely has all the rights to be included on this list. This piece of driftwood is actually called a drift log. It wasn't measured, but just by looking at the man standing beside it for scale, it is absolutely massive. In the area where it was found, it's not really unusual to find tree-sized driftwood washed up on the shore, but most of them are of reasonable size, around 8 to 10 feet in length. It is quite possible that severe weather accompanied by high winds toppled what once was a mighty tree before it ended up in this state. But of course, the specifics of what actually happened may forever be left unknown. Number 7. Blue sailors. Nope, I'm not talking about sad and lonely mariners. I'm talking about jellyfish with a bluish, sometimes even purple tinge. Also called by the wind sailors, these jellyfish usually float on the surface of the open ocean, riding wind and water currents in search of food using a hardened triangular sail, that thing you see on top of their domes right there. Back in 2015, literally billions of these sea creatures started washing up on the US West Coast beaches. They first started showing up in Oregon and Washington, but later turned up in California as well. Is this the result of an ill-fated hostile takeover masterminded by sentient deep-sea organisms who sent these hapless jellyfish to their deaths in an attempt to subjugate us land dwellers? Well, not quite, but hey, anything's possible in 2020. This mass stranding is simply a result of the wind changing directions, blowing these hapless creatures to shore and their doom. Not quite as dramatic as the first theory, but facts are facts, no matter how boring. Number 6. Lego bricks. Many years ago, circa 1997, a long time ago, galaxy far away, I think you get the point at this point, a container filled with millions of Lego pieces fell into the sea off Cornwall. But to the surprise of no one, they didn't stay at the bottom of the ocean, but rather keep getting washed up on the shores of Cornwall, much to the delight of Lego lovers and the dismay of barefoot beach walkers. The Lego pieces ended up at the bottom of the ocean when on the 13th of February 1997, the container ship Tokyo Express was hit by a wave described by its captain as a once-in-a-100-year phenomenon, tilting the ship 60 degrees one way, then 40 degrees back. As a result, 62 containers were lost overboard about 20 miles off Land's End, and one of them was filled with nearly 4.8 million pieces of Lego bound for New York. No one knows exactly what happened next, or even what was in the other 61 containers, but shortly after that, some of those Lego pieces began washing up in both the north and south coasts of Cornwall. Heck, they're still coming in today, actually. Number 5. A giant Lego man. Keeping it within the Lego theme, but supersizing it by 1,000 times, it is this giant Lego man that somehow ended up on a Florida beach in 2011. Literally thousands of times the size of those that washed up in Cornwall, this guy was 8 feet tall and weighed about 100 pounds. It also had a peculiar statement printed on its shirt, which read, "No real than you are," much to the cringe of grammarians worldwide. It was found by Jeff Tindman, who saw it bobbing about in the water while on his pre-dawn walk on the Siesta Key Beach, just south of Sarasota in Florida. He then dragged the thing onto the beach, and like any other sane man would do, I suppose. Funnily enough, this isn't the first giant Lego man to have been washed up on a beach. The other occurrences happened in Holland in 2007, England in 2008, and Japan in 2014. The person responsible for 2 of these incidents have been outed since. A message on Sarasota visual art website states that the one in Florida is named Eco Leonard, the creation of Dutch guerrilla artist and 2011 Sarasota Chalk Festival featured artist Leon Kier. He was also the one responsible for the one found in the Netherlands. Number 4. World War II love letters. Just a day after Hurricane Sandy ravaged the East Coast in 2012, Kathleen Mullen made an incredible discovery near the Jersey Shore. A stack of 57 letters bound with a pink ribbon had washed ashore in the storm. Mullen then took the letters home, dried them by the fire. The power was still out from the storm, and realized she had stumbled upon the love letters written by Dorothy Fallon and Lynn Farnham between 1942 and 1947 while Lynn was in the military. It's unclear where the letters came from, but Mullen was determined to get them back to the couple. Through research online, she was able to locate a niece, Shelley Farnham Hilber, who lives in Virginia. Dorothy and Lynn had gotten married after the war and had 2 children. Lynn and the couple's son are deceased and their daughter has lost touch with the family, but 91-year-old Dorothy was living in a nursing home in New Jersey. If there's one good thing that came out of that horrible hurricane, I'm glad it was something like this. Number 3. E.T. E.T. 2. E.T. Comes Home. Again. Yeah, that would be a crappy title of what would be an even crappier movie. But I digress, and with good reason, because the main protagonist of this story is the lovable alien who loves to point at things, E.T. himself. It started in 2012 when a life-size E.T. model owned by 76-year-old Margaret Wells was stolen from her home. It was made by her daughter 9 years earlier as she was studying a stage makeup course. Understandably, the old lady was heartbroken. The replica was, after all, a one-off. It infringed on a lot of copyrights, but still a one-off. Anyway, the thief or thieves apparently changed their minds and didn't want E.T. at all, so they chucked him into the ocean. A few months later, someone out for a walk on a beach in Old Portsmouth, Hampshire, spotted it floating above in the water a few miles away. Thinking that it was a body, he immediately called the police. However, police and Coast Guard attending the scene quickly realized it was not a human, but the alien model. He had lost a finger and looked a bit roughed up, but he has a smile on his face. The model has since come home, much to the delight of his owner. Now it's time for today's best pick. Today's best pick was sent over by a subscriber, and it shows a strange-looking fish washed up on a beach. I can tell you now, I can't find anything on the internet about the photo, but it doesn't mean that strange fish don't end up on the beaches all over the world. The next one is just one of them. Find out what it is next with number 2. A mysterious hairy blob. It came from the depths of the ocean and has since mystified onlookers. The decaying truck-sized body of a hairy sea monster. Just what it is, no one can really say. The beast, though, washed ashore on a beach in the Philippine province of Oriental Mindoro on May 11, 2018. Until the species is officially identified, people are calling the 20-foot-long grayish and white carcass the globster. And like any rotting corpse, it smelled pretty bad. It was first thought to be the decaying body of a sea cow due to its resemblance, but it was later revealed that it was the decaying carcass of a whale. What kind of whale it was, we don't know because identification was impossible due to decomposition. People feared that the animal beached as a result of a recent earthquake, but experts quickly pointed out that it was probably hit by a boat. This is hardly the first mysterious monster that's washed ashore in the Philippines. In February 2017, the decaying blobby body of another 20-foot-long marine creature washed ashore in the Dinagat Islands. Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell, and you will get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it really works. Number 1. A conjoined two-headed dolphin. Probably the strangest thing ever to have washed up on a beach is this two-headed dolphin, whose carcass was found on a beach in Turkey back in 2014. A gym teacher found the remains of the conjoined baby dolphins on a beach in Dikili near the western city of Izmir. Finding this rare creature is amazing enough, but even more amazing things were discovered when the animal was studied. First off, the animal was roughly a year old before it died. This means that it survived an entire year feeding and swimming about with its mom. This is made doubly amazing when experts point out the fact that it's very rare for any conjoined animal, especially mammals, to live beyond a few months old in the wild. Polycephaly, the condition in which a single animal has two heads, is a very rare condition that doesn't only happen to animals but to humans as well. Abigail and Brittany Hansel is the perfect example of human polycephalic twins. Have you ever found something strange on the beach? Let us know in the comment section down below. Want to watch more videos about strange things? Click on any of the videos you see on your screen. As always, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Later, everybody.